They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah.
What's up, buddy? You're here on the WellRED podcast. We are sans Drew. I feel like for the past several months, it's been sort of a mixed bag on here. We've all got our own bullshit going on.
Yeah, definitely. Because, you know, me and you were gone off here for 3 weeks. And then when we came back, no, we did the one episode, right, with all 3 of us back again.
I think so,
Drew,
yeah.
And then Drew went to Bonnaroo and he died there. And so now he's still not here. So rest in peace, Drew.
Yep,
never to return.
Yep, we loved you. You meant a lot to us, but he is dead. Go ahead and send your RIP.
Screaming in a tent.
Yeah.
Good Lord intended.
Go ahead and using hashtag WellRED podcast, go ahead and send out your RIP tweets to Drew Morgan, our fallen soldier. And hopefully he'll be back with us next week. How's your tour been going, buddy? This is the first time in our I'll use the word fully professional careers that me and you have not toured together.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've both in that time done like solo things, but not like.
Oh, I'm not complaining.
And I've only done, 3 shows so far, but they were all great. They all went great. I'm doing more time. I'm doing a full hour, and I'm trying to get a full brand new hour because we taped that special at the end of the year that presumably will come out at some point. So I'm trying to get a brand new hour, and it ain't ready or anything, but it's been going pretty well. And I think I've probably already got 40 plus new minutes out of the 60. So it's all going good and we're having fun. I didn't even remotely consider certain like business aspects of it, like settling up with the club and getting paid and stuff, because it was the same for so long and WellRED in the process. And I went in there the first night and I hadn't even thought about it. And I was like, oh shit, I don't even know.
I need to check
the best way to go about this. Yeah, right. So, but that's, fucking inside baseball shit. I'll get it figured out. Everything else about the shows is going well. So yeah. Looking forward to. I'm flying to Virginia tomorrow.
Yeah, where are you going to be at?
For
Funny
a couple
Bone?
of days. I'll be at the Funny Bone in Richmond and then Virginia Beach, the 29th and 30th.
Well, I think the question that everybody has is, do you miss me?
Yeah, of course. Of course, I miss you always. Yeah, I know. You're right. That was on everybody's minds. But to them, we're together multiple times every week, or even physically in the same room together because of putting on airs, which everybody should check out if they haven't already.
Yeah, for sure.
Episodes every Friday.
Yeah, if you somehow or you don't know what that is, Putting on Airs is me and Trey's new podcast, wherein 2 hillbilly dipshits talk about fancy stuff. The Royals and Kings and Queens and shit. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. You're Putting on Airs on all your podcast stuff, or you can watch it at watchpoa.com, which just takes you to our YouTube page and such.
Speaking of YouTube pages and such, and also our careers and whatnot, we were kind of texting this morning. I don't know, we've never talked about it on here before, but like internet fame, the varying degrees of it and how wild it can be, how there's like, like I am and you are to a like certain degree, some level of internet famous, but we're just like, and like, everybody that comes to my shows knows me from the internet. And that's great. But then there's all these people, YouTubers and stuff. I feel like you can find a new one every day. That's orders of magnitude more followers and more huge than we are. And
and some of them are 14 years old.
Yeah, right. And then you're like this, because it's like, I feel like getting, going viral, like made my whole career that I now have. And I always wanted to be a comedian, and I still like try to go about things the sort of like traditional way and everything. This is a career I wanted anyway. Whereas some of these people just kind of like go viral and, oh shit, now we're in it, but like,
I'm with
I
you in
think
that I use the internet to get eyes on me, so that hopefully that will translate to people coming to see the thing that I actually do and
yeah, right,
consider my career. You know what I mean? But these
right.
YouTubers, and this is no slight on them, but that is the thing that they do.
Yeah, right, exactly, and that's like, I wonder, presumably they could probably sell tickets, but to
Hmm.
do what? And I think
Right.
they had the same idea, and some of them landed on, well, we could fist fight each other, because that I feel like I don't know the backstory, but I feel like that is sort of that's probably what happened with all these like
Logan
YouTuber
Paul's.
boxing matches that are going on, because it's like that they're the biggest ones. The Pauls are like the biggest of these
Yeah.
types of YouTubers we're talking about, and they started all that boxing stuff. But now there's like all kinds of other YouTubers. The thing that brought this all up was there's these two YouTubers, never heard of either one of them before this morning, but ESPN tweeted a thing that you shared in the group thread that was it says all pro running backs Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell are going to box each other at this exhibition pay-per-view match. And those two guys are two of the best running backs of the past generation. Le'Veon
Yeah, I didn't
Bell
even see the
he
YouTube
had a
part. I
short-
just
that's
saw
what I'm
that
saying.
and I was
Yeah,
like,
right.
cool.
But exactly, because if you're a football fan, you're like, oh, that's wild. I would never pay money to watch them two box because they're not boxers. But like they're Adrian Peterson's like, apparently pretty big piece of shit, but
Yeah.
one of the greatest running backs of all time. And Le'Veon Bell had a really high peak. So these guys are like super legit football players. They're one of the undercards on this exhibition. Like they're not even the main draw at all. The headline match, the like title belt, but there is no title because it's an exhibition, is between these two YouTubers whose names I've already forgotten. And I'm not trying to shit on any of them, but I saw that these two great running backs were undercards on this YouTuber boxing pay-per-view that I'd never heard of. So I started looking them up, like, who are these guys? And like I said, they've got so many more followers on social media and stuff than you and I combined, right? Like it's way more.
And probably more than watch NFL games.
Yeah, but I've never heard of, well, I don't know about that. NFL
Yeah, that's true.
Huge, but probably more than watch like hockey in this country.
Yeah, right.
And I'd never heard of them, so I looked it up, and the two guys, one of them, his whole thing on the internet, from what I can tell, is that he does his own, like, keeping up with the Kardashian style, like, sort of docu-follow show just about him and his wife and their kids. Just like him and his family.
Well, that's
just
something.
like living their life. Yeah, but it's also like, and again, this dude, I could not imagine. When I first went viral, there were a couple of like reality production companies who wanted to do that with me and Katie and the boys as like a TV show, because that, you'll move to LA, real life Beverly Hillbillies, basically, right? That's what, and I've never even considered it. Mostly, Katie would never do it, but also I'm real private about my family. I don't want them in front of everybody anyway. But also, like,
once you do that, you're that
good. Because I'm not going to, like, they don't know how boring I am at home.
Right.
Like, we just sit around and do regular family shit.
You'd literally have to fake it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Which I'm not going to do. But also, it's just like, I just can't imagine just like sharing my whole life with everybody all the time. But also, I don't really follow what they, like, how them doing that, worked to the extent
because normally it's like you have to be famous first
for people to care about watching you just live your life. But that's not true anymore. I've also found out over the years all these, like, I think Mark put it in the group text earlier, and I think he's right. It's a genre of like streaming and stuff that I think is called DIY, which is that's do it yourself, but which doesn't really fit to me. So maybe me and Mark both have the acronym mixed up, but it's like where people they just stream themselves living their lives. That's all they do. And some of them they're on Twitch and they're huge. And Twitch started out as playing video games, but these people don't even play video games. They just live their life and they got all these followers. But most of them are pretty girls, which is like, to me, it's like that's all the explanation you need.
Right.
When you're talking about nerds and the popularity of pretty girls who stream their lives. But then, and the other guy, and this is even wilder to me, the other guy, so you know how in sports games now they have this thing called Ultimate Team? Like Madden does it.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them do a version of it. It's like I don't know. I don't like it because it's a lot of micro purchase bullshit, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to spend extra real money to be good at a game that I already spent money on. Fuck all that shit. But the way it works is you get these decks of cards, and inside the decks are randomly generated players. And so usually the players are not very good, but sometimes you can get like an elite Tom Brady in one of these card packets. And now on your ultimate team, you have elite Tom Brady, which is really good. But you got to buy these packs of cards, right, with real money. And this one dude, his whole thing on the internet, until he started fist fighting other YouTubers in the ring, his whole thing was doing that on FIFA, the soccer game, which, you know, FIFA, that's probably the biggest video game franchise in the world, considering how soccer is. He's a British guy. On FIFA, he just spends thousands of dollars on these packs of cards and films them all. And whenever he gets a pack that's got like 2 elites and a blue chip in it or whatever, like he gets a really good pack, which is like a 1 in a 5,000 type thing, then he puts that on YouTube.
And it gets billions
best
of
pack
views.
ever, best pack reveal ever. And he's got like tons of those. And they all have like over 1 million views and stuff. And it's like, that was his thing.
Yeah, right.
He was like just making money doing that. And then got into the, you know, the YouTuber boxing game, but it's just like, Mark said it earlier. He was like, don't you feel stupid for like learning a craft and shit like that?
Yeah.
Because like, it's just so wild to me because I've always wanted to be some kind of like an entertainer or in some form of show business or something. And it's like, there used to be things you had to do do that. Whereas like now it's just, there's no limit and there's also no rhyme or reason from my perspective to the things people can be like famous or known for or make money doing. Because of the internet.
And I know that neither one of us are attempting to shit on these people because, dude, in this insane world that we live in, however you can figure to make money and have fun, I don't give a shit. It's not like people are clearly watching it and YouTube works on ads. If you're getting the views, you deserve the views, what the fuck ever. But we've talked about this a bunch where like we seem to be, I feel like, and of course I didn't live back then, but it seems like used to when people wanted to be famous, it was for a thing that they do that hits. Like me and you've talked about this all the time. My primary objective is to be the best comedian, best entertainer that I can be. And usually a symptom of that is that you get famous. But to me, the important part is that people notice me for the hard work that I put into a thing. But there seems to be a lot of people who are like, they just, there's people that I know, like they're younger people that are in my town that they'll like holler at me and be like, hey man, I know we don't, really know each other that well. I was in like 6th grade when you were in, high school or whatever. But like, I'm just like, I'm really wanting to get into the internet game. And I figured that you could help me because you're like good at that. And I always tell them the first thing is I go, by the way, people think me and Trey are good at the internet. We're not. We're
That's
funny.
Happened to me. Like our peers, like other professional comedians who are like better than me and that I respect, have asked me before for like, hey, dude, can you give me some pointers? I get some advice from you on this whole internet part. And I'm like, dude, I feel so bad, but believe me,
I don't know.
I do not know.
No,
like, I just found a thing that the internet seems to like, and I just keep doing that thing.
Right.
That's all I do. I don't actually understand it at all.
Because
to this day.
There's no formula. Like when I make a video, in my mind, that video was good and funny. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put it out. But like, I never know which one's going to get 1 million views and which one's going to get 25,000 views. You never fucking know. There's no secret. It's just like, my thing is I feel like I'm funny and people see that I'm funny and they share my shit. That's my secret. But like, so these people will be like, I just really want to get in the internet game. And I'm like, okay, well, like doing what? And they're like, what? And I'm like, what is it that you want to do? And they're like, well, I want to be like an influencer. And I'm like, okay, but what is the product that you're going to be putting out? And they're like, oh, I just want to get a bunch of followers. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they really, in their mind, what they want, and again, I'm not slighting anybody for this, what they want is to amass a huge group of followers so that they can spend all their time making videos for companies and getting paid for it and not having a real job. And again, I'm not shitting on that, but like that, they don't care to put out good stuff. They just want the quickest, easiest way to get a bunch of followers so that companies will send them free sunglasses so that they can put them on in this video. And that is just so beyond me. And I think they see me like, you know, I do promotional videos sometimes because like I do have a lot of followers and companies will send me shit, but I got those followers being me and being funny and putting out comedy videos so that people would come see my goddamn show. But they don't want any of that shit. They just want the end result.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a little more right after this. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of times, but seemingly not anymore. And I think it's because the first generation for which this was true, they have now gotten older and are in their 20s. But a lot of times, when you find somebody like this on the internet, and you're like, "What's going on here?" The answer is children.
Yeah, right.
Like kids. My kid, dude. Kids, and for a while now, because I remember when I was working on my first pilot 5+ years ago, John Imbaum, the guy I was doing it with, who I love, his daughter at that time was roughly the age of my kids now. And I remember she then was like, he was saying, he's like, dude, I can't pay her to watch TV.
Mhm.
He's like, you know, I work in TV and everything. And I try to get her to watch TV. And he's like, YouTube is her TV, man. It's like she,
Right.
you know, whereas like when we were younger, it was like sitcoms and stuff like that. He's like, it's all YouTube for her. And the boys, we don't let them just watch YouTube all day, but if we did, they would. Like they'll watch shit, like they'll watch Kenobi and you know, things like that, and like Harry Potter movies and stuff. But we got to make them. If it was left up
Right.
to their druthers, they'd just be on the internet all day. And that's how kids be and have been for the past few, you know, many generations of kids. So a lot of times you find people with huge amounts of followers, it's children,
Right.
which makes a lot of sense. Matter of fact, dude, this was fucking wild to me. So there's right on the corner of the main street that connects to my street, right here in Burbank, right on the corner of my street and that main street, which is just right up here. You can see it from my front door. There was this thrift store, and it really sucked because thrifting's a big thing out here. So like people were constantly blocking and like parking and blocking my driveway and all this shit and everything else. And then finally the thrift store moved out and I was thrilled. And then Katie was like, yeah, well, you know what's moving in there? And I said, no. And she said, it's called Siwa Studio. I think I've got this right. And I was like, what's that? And she goes, JoJo Siwa. Right. And I was like, is that a person? Is that like a dance? What is that? You know? And she was like, she's like is a singer or something and dances and stuff, but she like went, you know, famous on the internet at 4 kids, like kids love this person, JoJo Siwa. And she's like huge on the internet for kids and especially little girls. And she's since gotten like a TV show, and that's what they're doing down here on my corner is they film that TV show. It's like her running a dance studio or something like that. I don't know. I've never heard of her. But the last time we were in New Orleans to do our show at, you know, whatever, you know, little theater was down there, on the way to the show, I drove, and I'm not trying to be dismissive. I love New Orleans. I just literally can't remember where we were at. But
yeah, well, it all blends together when you're in New Orleans.
On the way to the show, we drove by the Superdome, and at the Superdome that night was JoJo Siwa.
God damn!
And I was like,
"That's some wiggle shit."
What? Yeah, right. Like I did not. Katie explained to me who she was. I was like, okay, she's like big with kids or whatever. But the fucking Superdome—that's
crazy.
She does stadiums
full
that's
of
like
kids.
Where the Rolling Stones play.
Right. Because that's full of kids.
I know, dude. It blew my fucking mind. And I'm saying there's this whole like world, and it mostly exists on the internet, but of people like that who are like huge in that way. But there's so many of them you have and you never, you know, if you're not somehow connected to that world, you have you don't know about any of them. But the boys, they'll talk about different YouTubers and shit. They have like their favorite YouTubers and all, you know, I'll watch them sometimes and I can't help it. I'll just be on there and just be like,
what the fuck?
Why do you like this? Like, what? I'll be like, they're not making any jokes or nothing.
What is
like,
this?
none of this is funny. They're just like talking loud and like, what is this? This is low effort bullshit. You know? And they just, you know, they fucking love it. So I don't know.
We do live though, like we live in the best time as far as like entertainment and creativity goes, because of course there's so much bullshit, but like with any bullshit, you can just not watch it. That's fine. But we live in the first time in the world where niche entertainment is like prevailing, because like back in the day there were 3 channels, but before that it was just radio. Every single thing that you did had to have broad appeal, because they're like, well, we have to get the most eyeballs on this, we have to have broad appeal. And now, because you can just do shit at your house or whatever, people are starting to realize. I remember the first tip I got in like podcasting from somebody was like, actually the deal in podcasting is being the most specific that you can be, because you don't know, you would rather have 250 to 300,000 dedicated ride or die listeners than you would 3 million passive listeners, because these people are like, oh my God, you're making a thing that's so specific for me, and I didn't realize that my niche was going to be on display like this. And I think that's, super fucking cool. But there is a lot of bullshit. But I think Roy Wood Jr. explained it the best. I don't know if you remember this conversation.
He often does.
He does. And me and Roy did a conference this past weekend together, and me and him did a stand-up show together. But before that, he spoke at lunch, and he didn't even know what the title of his speech thing was going to be, but it popped up on the thing and it said Roy Wood Jr. breaks it down. And me and all the comedians were back there, and like almost synchronized, we just all go, I mean, literally no one breaks it down better than Roy. Like every time Roy has ever talked, it's Roy Wood Jr. breaking it down.
Yeah,
so
he stayed breaking it down.
We had him on at I want to say the very big, when we first kind of started doing these remote podcasts because of the pandemic, we had Roy on. And he talked about what the future of comedy was going to look like after the pandemic. And if y'all go back and listen to it, it's literally prophetic. It's exactly what happened. And then also we had mentioned to him how, we have a chip on our shoulder because a lot of people consider us YouTubers, and we're worried that like there's comedians that exclusively think of us as YouTubers. And Roy, without missing a beat, was like, man, listen, it's like anything else. I'm going to explain it to you like this. He goes, back when radio came out, there was a bunch of people that were live vaudeville performers that were like, oh, this new radio bullshit, these kids, this ain't ever going to work or whatever the fuck. Then TV came out, and all the old radio heads were just like, oh, this new TV bullshit. All the kids want to do is watch TV. And he's like, YouTube is just that now. Like, this is just the new iteration. And basically what he was saying was, yeah, there's going to be dudes that say that shit, but y'all shouldn't feel bad about it at all, because this is just the next thing. And as an artist, you have to evolve. Now, granted, again, we're still not talking about the same thing as doing like these dudes who on YouTube that have 5 million followers, and all they do, I don't know if you know this one, some of them just do, have you ever heard of unboxing videos? It's kind of like what you just said with the packets of cards. But like, basically, for the listeners that don't know, some people will just like set up a PO box, and we have one for the record, PO Box 240 Chickamauga, Georgia. That's the WellRED PO box. But their whole show is like, people will just send them stuff, and they'll just do an unboxing and be like, look at all this shit I got. And people will be like, that's fucking wild. I hope he picks my shit next. And that's why they're famous. So like, that's a little bit different, but at the same time, the stigma of YouTube is probably going away a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's just like, yeah, I still just feel like it's too, like a lot of comedians look at us as they're internet comics or they're YouTubers or whatever, but it's like, but we're really not YouTubers.
I wish we were.
I'm about to say, yeah, like the people we're talking about, they're YouTubers. And it's this whole, again, I just get fascinated by it sometimes, because every time one pops up that seems to be very internet famous and I never heard of them, I'm always like, okay, I want to see what they do. And so often I'm like, okay, I still don't really know, or I do know, but I don't get why it's a thing. But they'll just be massive. Like, I think one of the single biggest YouTube channels is that Marcus or Marquess Brownlee. You know that guy?
I've heard his name.
He's like one of the biggest guys on YouTube, and his thing is, and he's like very like smart and professional dude. A lot of these YouTubers, again, they just scream a lot and they're wild and crazy and they appeal to kids. And he's not like that at all. But his whole thing is like, he reviews tech, like technology and gadgets.
Oh,
and stuff.
yeah. I know that dude.
He reviews them and is one of the like top 10 YouTube pages, period. Like
And gets
when
free shit all the time.
yeah, when YouTube did their YouTube Rewind thing that they do every year, and they had Will Smith for it. Will Smith was like running it. Will Smith, like referenced Brownlee, like name dropped him in that or whatever. And he's like just massive, and he's like a technology critic,
Yeah,
or
right.
whatever. You know, and it's just like, it's just shit is just so wild to me. And the unboxing and the reaction videos, crazy to me. Like because like I've seen some that I
like
thought
No
were
Life
great.
Shack is the best.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, I love when I first reaction video I ever saw was him watching Freebird, and I fucking loved it.
Best video on the internet.
But like, I just don't. It's like a whole thing now, and I feel like there's reaction videos for reaction videos.
Yeah, there are. There are 100. I was almost about to propose that we do one for No Life Shack watching Freebird.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of did that for a little while once it first became a thing. I was doing it with Fox News, but it was like, you know, that didn't hit for me very quickly.
Yeah, right. Because then you got to watch. Right. Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, like, with the niche that we kind of have, like, none of that shit seems appealing to me. Like, I don't know. Like, dude, I could not have more respect for anyone on earth than the respect I have for you, who, aside from doing this podcast, and not only does a weekly podcast that is just about politics and the news, but also does like bonus Patreon shit, all that stuff about politics. Cause like I'm not sitting here saying it's stupid to be like, oh, fuck being informed. You should be informed. But like, man, you really put yourself through some depressive shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't fucking do it. And I don't know what, like, I would love to do reaction videos, but I don't know what the fuck people would want from me. And I know that, like, our base would be like, you should react to, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene hearings and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I don't know. Yeah. And then there's like, you know, there's like some of the biggest people on TikTok are like, you know, they just do like a
billions of views.
They got like a dance that they do. It's like a signature dance. And a lot of times it ain't like some fucking,
it's good.
So you think you can dance type stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, holy shit, how did it ain't the fucking moonwalk. You know what I mean? It's like pretty simple usually. And they'll just do it in different places and they're fucking massive. And one of those, I think, like, I'm pretty sure that's what that girl does. I don't remember her name, but like, you know, Tom Segura, who's one of the biggest comics out there right now, does like arenas and shit.
Yeah, right.
He was at a big UFC fight. Again, it don't get much bigger right now in comedy than Tom
Entertainment,
Segura.
Yeah.
And he was at a UFC fight and was like playing second fiddle to this TikTok dancing girl. Like everybody showed up. She happened to be in his section, like right beside him. And when she showed up, everybody's like, holy shit, that's whoever. Dude, did you know that's whoever? And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And she said he said she was a sweet girl and all this stuff, but they like looked up what she did. And I was just listening to the podcast. It was Two Bears with him and Bert. I wasn't watching it, but they looked at what she did and watched a couple of their videos. I remember Bert was just like, is that the whole thing?
Is that it?
Like, that's what she does, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's how I, you know, but it is. It's like fucking, and then there's like Patrick Mahomes' brother.
Yeah.
Who people seem to only follow to hate or something.
Yeah.
It seems like no one likes him, but he has a lot of followers. And that's all he does is he just dances in different places. Yeah. For example, oh my God. Shit, I fucked this up. Who was the safety for the Redskins that got murdered?
Died? Fuck, I can't remember his name, but yeah, he danced on his
grave.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't his grave. It wasn't his grave, but they were doing a ceremony. They were doing a ceremony for him, and I'm pretty sure they had his number like spray painted into the field, and he went out and danced on that, which frankly may as well have been his goddamn grave.
Right.
So yeah, this also this brings up an interesting
John Taylor.
thing.
Jesus
yeah,
Christ,
there you go. There you go. Well, dude, I mean, not to be grim, but like so many young NFL dudes have died in the past couple years that it just, you know what I mean? Like last week, a 26-year-old died. Like I forgot who that was too. It also speaks to like how much reach, the potential to reach the masses that the internet has. And I say that because back in 10, 20 years ago, if someone was playing the Superdome, you would know who they were. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you would know, it's the Rolling Stone. It's somebody that pretty much everyone knows, because back then there was only one way to get your shit out to people, and that was radio, TV, whatever. And of course it had to be like broadly entertaining to a lot of people. Yet there was millions and millions and millions of people apparently during that time who were clamoring for unboxing videos and fucking reaction videos, and no one knew that. And so now, dude, how many, I thought that I used to know, I'm pretty much did like 10, 20 years ago, every comedian that could sell tickets, I knew who it was. I knew them, or at least had heard of them, seen them on a show, whatever. Dude, we'll go to comedy clubs and watch the fucking like preview for people that are coming after us, and I don't know who some of these people are. And that's not a knock on them. It's just like how much the internet has made previously invisible people visible. And again, I thank God for it. And I think I think ultimately, like again, like I said, everybody's like, well, there's so much crap out there. Well, then you just don't watch that no more. And I do think that like the cream rises to the top. Like we've seen in the time that our careers have lasted, there's been countless people who popped on YouTube and you've never seen them motherfuckers again because they did one thing and they didn't have any skills after that. But it's just, again, I mean, the Superdome, and you don't know who this fucker is. That's insane.
Yeah, well, I think with her specifically, it's because kids entertainment has always been this massive whale. If like you can do that,
but everybody knew Barney.
You're right. Yes. Yeah, you're right. But
everybody knew the Wiggles.
I've got boys. And she's like mostly for little girls, as I understand it. But I wonder, like, if I had girls, maybe I would be like, oh, yeah, dude, she's all the rage. She's huge, maybe. But I have boys, and so never heard of her, and she's in the Superdome. But, yeah, you're right. Normally the things that are huge in the kid world, you still find out about just by virtue of them being so huge.
Yeah, anything that used to be huge, everyone knew about it. Like, that was the thing. But, like, I guarantee you of the top 10 YouTubers, I probably know 3 of them. Like, and it's probably just from talking to you. I don't even know the only thing I know that Logan Paul and Jake Paul do is invest in cryptocurrency and beat the shit out of people in exhibition fights. And I'm not shitting on them. The only thing, the one thing I knew, and I don't even remember which one it was, like they were already famous, but then the reason it got brought to my attention was they went to that suicide forest.
Yeah. And made like, what's up, everybody? Smash that like and subscribe button. We're here at the suicide forest in Japan. Gonna see some dead bodies. What's up?
What's up? What's up? Yeah. So like, but like, so I know that they did that, but like, I don't know what, I don't know what it is that made Jake Paul famous. I don't know what his videos were. I don't know if he was doing a docu-follow. I don't know if he was doing unboxing, but I do know who the motherfucker is.
One of them, whichever one was famous first, I don't know. And then the other one got famous like off of that. But one of them popped on Vine. You remember Vine?
Yes.
Vine. One of them popped on Vine and was huge on there. And then after that transitioned into YouTubery. I don't know what they were doing on Vine, but like Vine was
7 seconds.
Yeah, I know. And I know,
that's the worst medium for me and you.
Fucking verbose. Yeah, right. Like I can't be funny in 7 fucking seconds. Like
it just took you longer to explain why you couldn't be funny in 7 seconds than 7 seconds.
Yeah, right. But some of those I remember I thought
were
hilarious.
Crushed.
And I was so impressed by them because it's like I have no idea how you can do that. 7 seconds.
The most popular.
I don't get through a quarter of a setup in 7 seconds.
Do you remember our buddy Tyler Langford did stand up? So
of course.
My favorite Vine ever, and it actually went pretty viral as far as Vines go. He had one where he bought a shirt, and it said it was Michael Jordan, and he was holding up all his championship rings, and it said, "The real king has 6 rings." And Tyler's video, he goes, "The real king has 6 rings. I'm pretty sure the real king died on the cross." And it was so funny, and I watched that video so many times. But like to me, I'm like, yeah, you nailed it in 7 seconds, but it has to be exactly that. Yeah. I mean, the setup has to be 3.5, 4 seconds. Then the punch is this. Like when you write a blackout sketch for like a sketch and improv show, it's usually, at least 20 to 30 seconds or some shit like that. And that's considered insanely short. Like, I don't know, like whoever when they came up with Vine, was their first idea 7 seconds, or did somebody go, no, let's get it down even further?
Never made any sense to me, and I couldn't believe it worked. I would never been less surprised by anything when it eventually went under. But I mean, it was huge there for a minute. But yeah, I just don't, dude. Fucking, I stayed off TikTok for a long time because for a long time TikTok it was a 60-second limit,
right?
And I was like, none of my videos are ever 60 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to fuck with that because it just don't fit me. And then they raised it to 3 and I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, you can do that.
I might as well just do it for TikTok if I'm doing it for all these other platforms anyway. Yeah, I've been unbanned for a while now.
Well, is it the same account?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so yeah.
I wrote them over and over again and they finally unbanned me because it was some unjust bullshit.
Right.
Joe. That's why.
The Instagram reels for me was the same thing because everybody was like, management and everything was like, they're really pushing reels right now. They're really pushing reels and they're 60 seconds. And so like what I was trying to do was I would take my Twitter video that was 2-3 minutes or whatever and try to get the highlights in 60 seconds. But like, you know me, the way I write, if you take clips and I don't have context, it's a bad read. So like I need all that. They've moved that up to 1:30, which is great, but still not like that's like when I do a gerrymander video, it's going to be 2 minutes and 50 seconds. That's just the formula for those for the most part. Can't really get them down that much. But I mean, for our low attention span society, they're money. But yeah, I never, anything that was like 60 seconds, I was like, buddy, by the time I explain what it is that I'm here to do, 45 seconds have gone by and I'm, completely fucked. Speaking of these Jake Paul and Le'Veon Bell and Adrian Peterson fights, have you watched any of the celebrity boxing or anything like that?
No.
So
no, I used to when I was like a kid in the 90s. Mike Tyson got out of jail and was fighting Lennox Lewis and stuff like that, and bit off Evander Holyfield's ear. But wild as fuck,
so wild.
And
that still hadn't been topped.
And I was watching all that, and I got into boxing for a little bit there. And even I remember toward the end of that era was when there was like the Klitschko brothers, and I used to. I like those
Vladimir.
Guys too. Yeah, and Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko. They were both like PhDs who spoke 6 languages each, and one of them ended up being like the president of the country they're from or something. Like,
are they from Ukraine?
Oh, damn, are they? I don't know. I don't remember.
I think they might be.
I haven't thought about them in years, but let's Klitschko, yeah.
I feel like they were from Ukraine.
They are Ukrainian. You're right.
Yeah, man, buddy. If they were popping today, but yeah, dude, I had Vladimir's poster on my wall. I love that son of a bitch, lanky ass motherfucker.
So I used to watch all that, and also they're like, who else is like that is Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren is this like fucking super jacked and Adonis dude, but he also speaks like 6 languages and has like a master's of molecular fucking chemistry or some wild ass shit like that, and he also wants
which is like the liberal redneck of the meathead world.
There was something like, right. There was something crazy where like some people broke into his house and like we're gonna
Liam Neeson
his wife or something like. Didn't he like Liam Neeson him in real life? Yeah. Like you broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, motherfucker.
Yeah, but, he's a bad son of a bitch.
Anyway, though, back to the Klitschko. So I used to watch boxing for a while, but then I fell out of it. So now I don't even watch like real boxing.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not going to watch Logan Paul versus, some washed up UFC guy or whatever. But do you be watching them?
Yeah, I do. But like, I am not the one that sets up the, hey, we're all going to watch this party. That's Robbie and, or my dad. My dad, as you know, is a massive Barstool sports fan, like massive. And they do a thing called, is it Backyard Brawl, or it's something where like these aren't even famous people at all. These are just goddamn rednecks. Like they just have rednecks that sign up to fight publicly, and they you've never seen this?
No.
Oh, bro,
and they do it on pay-per-view.
Yeah, but they have like
and people pay for it.
Yeah, man. But here's the deal: is we were texting about this earlier. It's not just like they're like, hey, we're gonna have this fight, and here's these rednecks. They're gonna fight. First off, there's like 30, 35, 40 matches because they all last 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So there's
they literally just find 2 old boys and they're like, all right, you fight Randy, you fight Steve. And they're like, all right, let's go.
That was the headliner.
Like Fight Club.
For the last,
That's the headliner.
Randy versus Steve, the
Part 2.
trilogy,
Yeah, the rubber match, Randy Steve rubber match. This weekend at Backyard Brawls.
From what I can tell, what they
this
do
is
is
blowing my mind. I never
you didn't know this, yeah. So from what I can tell, what they do is like it's like how I don't know if you ever submitted to like be on a reality show or anything like that back in your younger career, back when we were just trying everything.
I got cast on one.
Yeah, right.
But it didn't get made. I made a pilot for a reality show.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It was an Impractical Jokers type of reality, like a candid. It was actually produced by the Impractical Jokers, but which you think, wow, can't believe that didn't get made. But you got to remember that I was involved.
Hey, Trey was in it, so there was no way.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just that was a done deal as soon as I was cast in it. But yeah, it was like a hidden camera, like stunt comedy show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally was up for that type of thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we all were. Well, that Redneck Island one that Rocky Del Davis ended up getting on, I auditioned for that, and I don't remember how. Like, I didn't see. I got emailed something by some lady that I'd done a show for, and she was working in production of something. Like, I definitely did not go out of my way to seek out a casting, but I was like, oh shit. I mean, if it'll get me on TV, whatever. And the way that the audition went was basically like they gave you all these like prompts for questions and shit, and they just wanted to see your personality. So you just got on camera and hit. I took my pants off and showed my butt. You know how it is.
Yeah,
but they
as you do.
Yeah, but they casted Rocky instead, which honestly, I have always looked back on it. Now, Rocky was able to do the show and then go on to do other things and is doing great. I feel like it would have ruined me because I remember me at that age. I'd have said some wild shit that I shouldn't have said. I'd have been a lunatic. It just wouldn't have worked out for me. So I'm like glad in hindsight that I didn't get it. But point is, from what I can tell for these backyard brawls or whatever they're called, they have people audition in that way. Whereas like, you know, dudes will just like the auditions, like they're playing a character. It's very WWE like all of them have like a little hook. They got a backstory. And so for, you know, a month or two leading up to the fights, they show these dudes, these guys have like beefs with each other, and they send videos back and forth on the internet, and they have people sharing them, and like, you know, they have polls out which one of these rednecks is going to whoop this redneck's ass. So like at the end of it, you're really watching because you have found out stuff about these people and you want to see one of them get their ass kicked. Like
they do like background and shit on each of these guys.
Oh yes, man.
How do they find them? Like people
they send the tapes. Yeah. At this point, like people
submit themselves. I want to be on Backyard Brawls.
Yeah.
And it's like a tape of them like, watch me whip my cousin's ass. And
yes.
That's their like audition tape. What the fuck, dude? This is wild. And I've never heard of any of this.
And like so many of them will be like, I remember there was this one, well, hell, actually this happened in a UFC fight where the two dudes were like, they had a lot of beef, but instead of being like, you know, Conor McGregor and some dude where it's talking about like, I'm the best fucking fighter in the world, like I'll beat the shit out of you, my record's this, and you ain't got reach and blah, blah, blah. It was these dudes so mad at each other, arguing over which one of them Donald Trump would like the most. Like that was their whole beef. And so many
and again, these are two backyard brawl guys. So these guys are not like, they're not famous or anything. It's
no. Those two were actual UFC fighters. Those two, and that's why it was so weird to me because I was like, why are they even doing this? But the backyard brawler dudes, what they'll do is basically like they'll have some. And I'm not saying this to disparage the person. I'm sure he's very nice, but they'll have some catfish coolie looking motherfucker audition waving a Trump flag, and then they'll be like, let's let him box this black guy. You know what I'm saying? They'll do that. And then like everyone will tune in to see either the black guy beat the shit out of the Trump supporter or, you know, the huge Trump supporters wanting him to stick it to this Black Lives Matter motherfucker. So like nobody, in my opinion, tunes in because they're going to see world level fighting. Cause like, again, I've seen them and it sucks. They will also have, and I'm going to use the proper nomenclature here. There will be little people.
Okay, hang on. Wait a minute. All right. Hold that thought. We'll be right back after this. Okay, so Backyard Brawls Dwarf Edition. This is, dude, how have I not heard of it? This is some like fucking sideshow shit.
Yeah, it's very carny, dude.
Still doing, like, I remember fucking, you know, bum fights being a thing.
And it's one step up.
Right, that's crazy.
It's one step up. I did
not realize it's like fucking Trailer Park Gladiator or something. It's like, this is blowing my mind. So they get little people.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
and they whoop each other's ass.
and they whoop each other's ass, and they've
Do
got
they do girls? Are there women?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
my
There's that,
God,
yeah, and dude,
what
they're
the
just you know
fuck?
they're ripping each other's wife beaters
Yeah.
off and shit like that, and no, dude, it's insane, and
Throw
like
some mud in there.
yeah, and dude, and my dad fucking loves that shit so much, and he'll
How
be.
often do they do these?
I don't know. I've watched two with Dad, and I feel like they were definitely months apart. And Dad will be like texting me. He's like, "You're coming over. I'm grilling wings," and he'll be texting me all week like the videos that like Portnoy puts out. He's like, "Look at this fucking And I'm not going to say the words my dad said, but like, like look at this. I can't even think of a synonym.
Yeah.
These dumb motherfuckers, he's
Yeah.
going to beat his ass because Corey, I don't know if you know this, but he fucked his ex-old lady right after he got out of jail. I mean, they're coming for blood, son. My dad gets so fired up about it.
This is fucking Jerry Springer, man.
Yeah,
That's what,
dude,
like,
it's such Jerry Springer, except for like there's no Big Steve to break it up. Like it's just like,
Right.
here we go. So Steve Ditko, I think was that guy's name.
I think, yeah. I think it's Ditko.
So yeah, they have these fights. They all talk shit. It's super, super trashy. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's not, no one is watching it going, this is really good boxing. It's just because of these stories. They want to see idiots beat the shit out of each other. And not only is it not good boxing, what my favorite part of it is like, obviously in the UFC or in boxing, it's always blown my mind that they immediately put a microphone to these dudes' mouth because it's like, first it's like
just got their brain smushed. For 3 rounds,
right.
Whatever,
It's like
barely survived, came out on top. It's like, talk about it for a while.
I've always said, and I maintain this, and that people might think this is bullshit, but like if a UFC fighter has a microphone put up to his mouth within 3 minutes of his fight, anything that comes out of his mouth is not admissible, and it must be thrown out in a court of law. Because, dude, again, not only that, their adrenaline's up. Like, you don't even, dude, like, there have been so many times after a good show, I don't even remember what I said for the next 10 minutes because I'm just up here. I'm just, going crazy. You'll say anything. So, but they do that to the UFC dudes, but like, those guys are like, yes, they're out of breath and they got their ass beat, but they're also in super good shape so they can still do it. They do the same shit to these fucking dumbass troglodytes, and
Really?
none of that. No, dude, they'll pull out a cigarette and start smoking it, and they can't fucking breathe. Like they're saying slurs. Like
I was about to ask. I was like, given what you're dealing with here, the talent pool and whatnot, and what you just said, like, are they up there just saying like racist shit?
Yeah,
and just like,
yeah. I remember one of the dudes called one of the guys a wetback, like right after the shit, and I'm pretty sure that was the one that Deion Sanders was announcing. Like Deion Sanders was announcing it, like he was at ringside or whatever, because he worked for Barstool. And that's another thing about these situations that like make them a little bit more palatable. So like, I watched the Holyfield. Was it Holyfield and Lennox Lewis fought each other or recently? And it was like these old heads.
Oh no, I didn't know.
No, like a year ago. Like it was. I know Holyfield was one of them. And it was these old boxers they were bringing out, and everybody was like, well, this is going to be a shit show. But they had Snoop Dogg doing ringside commentary, and it was so fucking funny. Like Snoop Dogg just be like, man, look at Holyfield over there posted up like by the barbecue. You know what I mean? Like it was great. And so like it's a spectacle. You're not looking at world-class boxing, but it's just an exhibition. You're seeing people beat the shit out of each other. And at least in that sense, like, it's still two people on the same level. You know what I'm saying? Like, so is
it Rough and Rowdy?
Rough and Rowdy. That's it. Rough and Rowdy. Yep. That is huge in my dad's world. Like, yeah, dude.
Pac-Man Jones is going to fight in one. It looks like he's headlining it.
Yep.
Pac-Man Jones headlining Rough and Rowdy 15. Capital Punishment, it's called.
He's fought before, I'm pretty sure. I think this is his second Rough and Rowdy.
He definitely fought before. Ain't no doubt about that.
This is his second. Hey, you remember? Was it Chris Henry that passed away? Did you know that Pac-Man adopted his kids?
I did know that,
and is taking care of them. And I think that's I think it should be noted because Pac-Man
He contains multitudes.
He
Dude.
contains multitudes. The man's like an onion. You know, he was, I loved him when he was at the Titans, when he was doing his thing, not when he was sidelined because he shot somebody at a strip club or whatever.
You'll have that.
But I think that if you're going to point out all the bad of Pac-Man Jones, it should be noted that the man clearly has a heart.
Yeah. So
as my dad always said, man, that dude could have been something if you could keep him out of the titty clubs in Murfreesboro. But
dude, so listen, I'm on the Rough and Rowdy website again. I've never read this. They got a bunch of videos. I'm not going to actually watch them right now, obviously, but like, let me read you some of the titles
Promos.
of these videos. Chainsaw wielding hillbilly rages.
I'm telling you.
Boxer farts in the ring makes everyone sick. Dwarves fight for championship belt.
I'm saying.
Toothless hillbilly fights young wrestling champ.
It's a lot of hillbilly stuff going on.
Tiny hero fights monster man to impress ring girls.
The David and Goliath match.
Self-proclaimed superhero hammers acne-covered lumberjack. What the fuck, dude?
Read that one again.
Self-proclaimed superhero hammers acne-covered lumberjack.
They could have just said lumberjack. It would have been fine.
Gelatinous man forced to fight pro powerlifter.
Gelatinous man.
Gelatinous. Worst superhero
That's my
ever.
superhero. Yeah. Are there any more?
Wild hillbilly talks shit.
Yeah.
Boone County boy and Putnam County boy trade words. One of them.
They're the only ones they know.
Yeah. Oh,
can I have that word? You can have this word.
And Rough and Rowdy 15 is being held in Charleston, West Virginia. Seems appropriate.
That I remember the one that we watched was in West Virginia. I'm pretty sure they've got like a running thing with West Virginia. But like, dude, yeah. Again, man, I know we's talking on the thread, like, why would you watch any of this shit? Tell me, though, that what all you just read don't sound like some entertaining bullshit. Like, of course they can't fight, but that's the point. They have figured out, and UFC's figured it out too, but those dudes still are actual professional badasses. They all fighting and boxing used to be like, where this is a gentleman's sport, it's professional, and it's yada yada. They finally, everybody looked at Vince McMahon and went, man, god damn it. Like, he puts butts in seats and they're not even really hitting each other. Why don't we do some of this shit too? And like, it's bullshit. I don't really like supporting the Barstool people, but my dad's going to buy it anyways. Like, of course I want to see an acne-laden hillbilly lumberjack get his shit pushed in by Gelatinous Boy or whatever. It's great.
Yeah, dude. Fucking roided up man fights dumpster. Man still in puberty calls out hillbilly who can't speak. This shit is ridiculous, dude.
Keep going.
I cannot believe I didn't know about this.
Oh, man.
Let me see. I don't know. I mean, I'm cherry picking them. I think I've been through most of the good ones now.
You need to hang out with my dad more, dude.
Yeah, this is fucking nuts.
It's
dude.
nuts. Who would you like to see, Trey, if we're going to book a celebrity boxing match or a Rough and Rowdy? Could you give me like a fantasy booking, like who you'd like to see beat the shit out of each other?
Damn, I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody that super don't hit for me that I'm willing to say.
Well, it's easy to say. I'd love to see Ben Shapiro and like Steven Crowder go at it, but like, dude, Steven Crowder would beat.
No, I'd love to see Ben Shapiro and like Eddie George go That's where I was trying to get to in my head, was something like that. You know, just watch somebody that I don't like just get absolutely fucking pulverized by somebody I do like.
Would you pay for that though?
Oh yeah.
Well, see, that's
Eddie George was going to fight Ben Shapiro. Yes, I would pay for that.
And that's the thing. Like, what the brilliance of all these things are is they put out these vignettes and these promos, and they make you hate these ordinary people. Like, they make you hate them. And so at the end of the day, you're like, I'll pay money just to see that motherfucker get his ass whipped. And it's perfect. Because like I said, like, I think the UFC has started to, it's how they're getting people. They know that if you like fighting, you're going to watch the fighting. But their whole thing is, well, as a business, we have to continue to increase our revenue and increase our viewership. So we have to somehow get people who don't like fighting. So what they do is bring Trump into it. Make people hate this person and go, I don't really like UFC, but I would love to watch this dude get a concussion. And it's working. And you know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty solid business model. We should start doing fights.
You want to be a fight promoter?
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do? They already got the hillbilly market covered.
Yeah, but I mean, but they need competition. You know, competition is healthy for growth. So, like, we start a competing one. You know what I mean? And we get all the people that they turn away. Can you imagine?
Oh, God. But the people there turning away, it's just like fucking get the N-word beat button ready.
Yeah.
You know? After that guy's fight. Fucking,
oh God.
Oh man, hell.
Well,
yeah,
all right.
It's been fun.
It's been fun. Dude, we need to do a watch along to one of the Rough and Rowdies. That would be fun as shit. Like we'll stream me and you watching it. I'm fucking into that. And let us know if you'd like to see that. And thank you for subscribing and downloading to this podcast. Check out Putting on Airs, our other podcast that we're super proud of. Go see Trey on tour at TreyCrowder.com. Grab them tickets. If you want to subscribe to my little subscription blog / newsletter, you can find that at CoreyWritesForYou.com. I put up bonus things for the paid subscribers. Like today, everybody got to see my failed Saturday Night Live audition that can't be put out anywhere else. And if you're someone who would really like the $5 tier, but you can't afford it for any reason, just email buttercreamcorey@gmail.com and I will comp you. And thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and ski. And now a preview of Corey and Trey's new podcast, Putting on Airs, the critically acclaimed series wherein two hillbilly dipshits talk about real fancy and also still stupid stuff. Here it is.
The richest dog on earth.
Air Bud. It has to be.
You would think so. Yeah,
Wishbone. Eddie.
He's still getting on them royalty checks.
Yeah.
No, it's just some German shepherd named Gunther the Third, who inherited $65 million when his owner, the late German Countess Carlotta Liebenstein, died in 1992.
She sounds like a kind woman.
So to answer your question, the humans who managed his doggy estate eventually invested Gunther's money and turned it into $375 million, which was then passed on to Gunther's son, Gunther the Fourth. So it just gets passed down through the doggy lineage. Gunther the Fourth and his team of handlers have used that money. Gunther has used that money.
Yeah, right.
To snatch up, put it all in milk bones.
Yeah, right.
Can I invest in butt smell? How's that work? I'm a dog.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gunther the Fourth.
How much to lick everyone's nuts?
Yeah, I mean $375 million again.
Yeah, I got it.
Tell them I got it. However much it is,
I got
tell
it.
them I got it. I'm Gunther Foe, motherfucker.